Hi, I'm Mike. You're watching Spiritual Combat, and today what we're talking about is who controls your culture. And as you can see from the picture, there's a lot going on there. And what I'm going to show you in this video, without a shadow of a doubt, you will see the plot to control and to destroy our people by controlling our culture, and we do not control our culture. We're the only race on earth that does not control their culture. And in this video, I'm going to show you the people who control it and what they're trying to do and how they're destroying us through it. So yeah, that's today's show, is who controls our culture. So let's get into it. The music in black culture is a heavy influence of the culture. I'm not going to go too deep in the it's called COINTELPRO, but it's how they studied us. They studied our race in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that, and before that, just to see how we worked, how to control us and everything. But the music is a huge influence. We look to it for identity because most of the black families are broken. There's no men in the house, and men give identity to the family, particularly to the kids. But a majority of black households are broken. So there's a vacuum for identity, and the media and the music fulfill that. Okay? So we're going to go through, we're going to just slowly hone in on this thing to see exactly, what's going on. So I came across this article. Let me see what I can do here. There we go. And it says 6 corporations control 90% of the media in North America. Okay, it says the illusion of choice, and it's just saying 90% of what you watch is controlled by these 6 corporations. So you have CBS, Time Warner, Viacom, Disney, News Corp, GE, and they control everything. Literally, like everything you take in. Like for instance, under Viacom is MTV, BET. Paramount Pictures, HBO, CNN's under Warner Brothers, Showtime, 60 Minutes is under CBS, News Corp, Fox News, Comcast is under GE, Universal. I think they merged recently. But they control everything. It says 232 media executives control the information diet of 277 million Americans. Okay, so we're narrowing this thing down, but you see, it's it's very deliberate, and that's what I'm trying to show here. That it's very deliberate of what goes on, and your eyes need to be open. And just as a side note, even the foods you eat are basically controlled by 10 companies. The majority of food you consume, and these are some of the companies: Coca-Cola, Kraft, Nestle, Johnson Johnson, Procter and Gamble, Mars, Kellogg's. There's just a few companies control, that's the way majority of stuff works. A couple companies control everything. Now, the point I want to make is majority of these companies, and we'll get into it here. Let's see. And this is something I brought up because when I was putting all this information together, I noticed I couldn't find BET anywhere. I'm like, well, who controls them? Well, Viacom controls BET, you know, the Black Entertainment Network. Um, and one thing worth mentioning is BET. I mean, it's part of the plot to destroy people. But this is an article I found, and the guy was just saying how when Rosa Parks, when she died, they had her funeral, and it was televised, and BET wasn't even covering it. They had on hip hop videos or some type of. He in this article he said some video with some half-dressed woman on there, and they didn't even cover the funeral. And this is the Black Entertainment Network, and it's sold out. It's not, you know, what you're gonna begin to see is a pattern that this stuff is just designed for one reason, to destroy you. But that was something worth mentioning. Which a lot of what you think is black is not black, you know. And then this is whoever controls the media and controls all this entertainment stuff that's on TV that you ingest day in and day out, they control your mind. Okay? You're like a puppet to them. Now, what you're looking at here, and let me zoom in a little. There we go. What you're looking at here is who controls your mind. This is 2015, and what this is, all the major media companies and music. This is music too. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So this is music too, mostly media though. But this is who's over these companies. Now, what they did is, what's in green are just regular white Americans, okay? What's in red are Jewish people, okay? So all these names here are confirmed Jewish people who control these companies. And you're talking about Google's in here. Facebook is here. And look, you see who it's controlled by, okay? Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, all the big companies, and all this red you see is Jewish. There are no blacks in any of these companies. And the positions are chief editor, chairman, owner, which owner is, of course, probably the most powerful one. And look at all that red. Okay? So, founder, CEO, president, you know. And then the orange is unclear. They're not sure if they're Jewish or not. And what they did, you see here that they put like exclamation points and dollar signs that says, and the meaning of that is suspected but unable to confirm, and received award for promoting Jewish value. So, I mean, after that, it's damn near, you know, they damn near have it on lock. I mean, that's a lot of Jewish people. There's no blacks here, okay? So that's a very interesting point to note. Another interesting point I've said in some of my other videos, damn near 50, it's like 48-something% of the billionaires in America are Jewish, okay? I don't know what percentage are black. It's definitely in the single digits, I'm sure. More than likely it's point something %, okay? Now, This here, I have a couple of these, pretty much the same stuff, but what it's showing is businesses you thought were black, but are not. So you have BET. It was owned by a black person at first, and then they sold it. Def Jam Records, same thing. It was owned by black folks. It was owned by these two. At one point, it was owned by Russell Simmons. He sold it to them, and then they sold it. Mark Echo, that's some urban wear, and there's some other stuff. But the main thing I wanted to harp on was BET and Def Jam Records. Jay-Z and this is Damon Dash and this is Jay-Z, but they both own Def Jams, and what ended up happening is the and I don't know the details. It's like, and I'm gonna let you know this information I put together here. It's surface stuff. I didn't even dig deep to find this. This is pretty surface. But basically, what happened with Jay-Z and Damon Dash is they owned the company, and there was a Jewish guy who had something to do with either owning it or managing or doing something with it. And somehow he got in between them and made them they ended up selling it, and they ended up selling it to one of these big corporation companies, and they took it over. Why am I saying this? Because you see this pattern with our people over and over. We come up with something, we come up with our own music, come up with whatever, but then we sell it. And they sold it, made a ton of money, but they sold their race out too, because it was a black-owned company. Now it's controlled by these other people, and they dictate what comes out. So they weren't thinking on that level. They were thinking on a greed level of how much money, they could make off it. So they sold it, Same thing with Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons originally owned Def Jam Records, sold that. Then he came up with Fat Farm clothing line, sold that. Then he comes out with this Rush card, which is, at first I thought it was a credit card, but it's not. It's like it's like a bank card without you having to have a bank account or something like that. Anyway, he brought this out, and then he sold that. And it's just a mess. If we get stuff and then we sell it, and we sell it to another nation, and then they have more control over us. If he had kept Def Jams and kept, Fat Farm and all the businesses he's come up with, and just keep them, hire your own people to run them, and start bringing up your own community, that's the way to go. But these people aren't thinking like that. They just sell it and get the money for themselves. They're not helping out their people. For like Fat Farm, he could have just bought it up and made it something he completely controlled, hired his own people, and began turning stuff around for our community. That's how it has to happen. But a lot of these people are just seduced by the money. A good example of being seduced by the money, these people. They all about money. And he raps about it, he swears by it, he worships it. And yeah, he's completely seduced by that. And and when you're following that, you're going to do whatever. You'll destroy, sacrifice your people, and whatever. And these people are pumping out poison, destroying our people, and don't care. Because they've been completely seduced. And that's the pattern that you see. Our people come out of these, and it's by design, because our people come out of these hard, impoverished conditions, and they don't care. They're just trying to get up out of there. They don't care who they step on, and they're not looking back. They just want to live high and mighty like the rest of the people. Like the white folks out there. Um, so let me see. Now, one person who, and I'll show you this too. Star Wars, which recently came out, and I don't know if you went and saw that, but I made the mistake of going and see it. And of course, they have the Black Star, but he was a buffoon. I mean, it was an embarrassment. It was damn near literally embarrassing, the role he played in there. I mean, it was straight cooning. I mean, they should have just, it was just like old times, and it's like the people who control this stuff dictate what everybody does, pay people off, make them do this, and people take the money and just embarrass our whole race. And that's what happened in Star Wars with that, with that black guy who was in it. It was an embarrassment. And it's because we don't control anything, We're not thinking. We're just going for short-term, emotional, quick highs. But one person who kind of saw through this and saw around this thing that's going on, this plot, was Bill Cosby, because it says here, back in the 80s, he was trying to buy NBC, and I mean, he was trying to buy it, but they didn't they didn't want it to happen, and there's plenty of information out there about that. But a lot of the stuff, even though he's going through his little thing now, they say he's raping women, whatever, but he knew, he had an idea of the direction to go. And that was a scary direction for these people that control everything. They didn't want things to go that way. These people make a lot of money off of us, off of our ignorance and all, off tricking us with money and all that stuff like that. And in my opinion, you can do your homework on this and just keep your eye out. But the next big thing, World Star Hip Hop, this is black owned. These people, these Jewish people who control all this stuff, they smell money, they smell profit. This is a very profitable thing here, World Star Hip Hop. He'll be selling that. I think that's going to be the next thing to go. And it's already geared up. It already shows plenty of stuff that's, destructive to us and just puts us out there in a bad light for the most part. But yeah, I think World Star Hip Hop will be the next one to be sold to one of these big companies, or some of these Jewish people out here. And this was an interesting article here I read by this brother. This is a Muslim brother, but I read through this real quick because he was just talking about just what the title says, the secret relationship between rappers and Jews, which this relationship goes all through music and all through history if you do your research, and you don't have to dig very deep. The information about how the Jewish people exploit us is out there everywhere. It's not like you're going to have to, do a whole bunch of digging. It's out there just through music, during slavery, everything. These people smell money, and where there's profit and money to be made, they're all over it. And that's how they took hip hop, took it over, and took control of it, and they control it now. And the information's out there everywhere. And he just talks about Jay-Z and how I think one of the record execs kind of got between him and helped break the company up so somebody else could buy it out. Talks about Eazy-E and NWA, how that went. Same thing with Dr. Dre. It's a good article to read here, very informative. And it's Derek Muhammad. He wrote it, and check it out, man. It's on, oh, this is the final call, okay? So, but it's very informative, a lot of good information in there. So, so what we're going to do now, I'll set the stage for this. We're going to watch this quick video, and what this video is Spike Lee. He got some type of honorary award or something like that. It says Spike Lee receives an honorary award at the 2015 Governor's Awards. So, but anyway, I wanted to play this because he has some good information in here. So check this out.
And I want to commend the President Sherwin Isaacs, because she's trying to do something that needs to be done. I don't know if you notice, but the United States Census Bureau says by the year 2043, white Americans are going to be a minority in this country. And for all the people out there who are in position of hiring, you better get smart, because your workforce should reflect what this country looks like. And I'm gonna get real here. Everybody in here probably voted for Obama, but when I go to offices, I ain't see no black folks except brother man at the security guard who checks my name off the list as I go into the studio. So we could talk, you know, yabba yabba yabba, but we need to have some serious discussion about diversity and get some flavor up in this. This industry is so behind sports, it's ridiculous. It's easier to be the President of the United States as a black person than be the head of studio. Honest. It's easier to be the President of the United States than be head of a studio or head of a network. Let's leave Oprah out of it. She doesn't count.
So yeah, I mean, and that's right out the horse's mouth. I mean, there are no black, damn near the only black people in Hollywood are the actors. You know, there are no black people with any type of significant power in Hollywood. That ought to tell you something. The people who make the decisions there are not us. It's not our race. Okay? They don't have our interests in mind. They have making money in mind. Okay? Very interesting. That's Hollywood, and we'll check this out too. Now this here is Bill O'Reilly. On the Bill O'Reilly show, he had this this brother on. He'll say his name. I forget what the brother's name is, but watch. Just listen to this.
Okay, and what we can do about it. And here in the studio, Kevin Powell, president of BK Nation. BK standing for Building Knowledge. So where am I going wrong here, Mr. Powell?
Well, I think the issue is not that you're going wrong, because I myself, who's been in this hip-hop culture for 30-plus years, have said some of the same things that you're saying, Mr. O'Reilly. The issue is that we're focusing on...
And just so you know, what Bill O'Reilly was saying is that it's the rappers. The rappers are the problem. Why are they singing all this violent stuff? They're ruining their race, this, that, and the other. Why are these rappers so negative, this, that, and the other? Okay? Now listen.
On rappers, and my question is, why aren't we also talking to the people who actually run these labels? A representative of BK Nation was at the White House initiative yesterday, and the fact is, none of the folks who are CEOs of the major labels that put out the music on a regular basis were there. And so the accountability is very easy to attack the rappers, but who are the people who are signing the checks,
well,
who are
look,
putting the stuff out
that's
there?
right. But the kids don't know those people.
But we do.
And believe me, you know, we have mentioned them in the past.
See the way they don't want to address that issue. You see what I'm saying? And he quickly, And you could pull this up on YouTube. It's all over YouTube. He quickly diverts away from that because those same people they're talking about pay him. They control his radio station or his news station. You see? So if you watch the rest of the interview, he quickly just shifts it over here away from that. No, we're not talking, because that is the truth. Those people who control that thing dictate what these rappers say and what gets said. It's not the rappers. The rappers are just doing what they could do to get money to get out the hood, you know, chasing this pipe dream they have. So, all right. So I got another good video right on what I said. This is going to just go right along with it. So this is Wise, Intelligent of Poor, Righteous Teachers, and this is good. If you haven't seen this video, it's real good.
You know, a lot of what he's saying is actual fact. You know, it's actual fact. Yet it also speaks to the environment in which we are embedded as young black males and females in this particular society. You know, hip-hop changing from positive to negative was not a consequence of history. It was not a circumstance of history. It was nothing that just happened on its own. It had nothing to do with the changing of the times. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with the fact that there are people in this particular society who wants to see us exactly where we are. And we cannot let that point elude us. These are the facts. How do we know? 1967, Kerner Commission report on urban disorder. When black people said, yo, we're tired of this system. You know what I mean? This system is oppressing us. So we rebelled against the system. We burned things. We said, yo, we had enough. He did his little report on what caused these riots. He said, what caused these riots? He said it was young children who started these riots, and what was motivating them was a high self-esteem and an enhanced racial pride. He said the majority of the rioters were high school dropouts, but they had a higher political orientation than their peers who did not drop out. And they saw the system as their enemy, so they attacked it in the right circumstance. So, fast forward to 1992. Same thing. #1 record on the radio, we had Fight the Power. Fight the Power is on the radio. Rodney King is beaten before the world. The black youth rebelled against the system. Again, they did it again. And why? What primed them? Positive hip-hop. Primed them. Fight the Power, X-Clan, Brand Nubian. You had these groups out here who were pushing, who were politically orienting black kids in the right direction, giving them the proper prompters that they needed so that they can respond properly to oppression. All right? In 1967, when the riots happened, he saw that the self-esteem and the racial pride was fueling this. So he said, how do I bring that down so that they will not riot? And what he did, he flooded the airways with black exploitation movies. Nigga Charlie and the Return of Nigga Charlie. These were movies. Hip-hop didn't start calling people niggas. We had Shaft. We had Coffee. Black girl turned prostitute to do whatever. You know what I mean? But these black exploitation movies brought down the self-esteem and the racial pride so that the kids will not rebel against this system of oppression. 92, the racial pride was back in effect. We had black kids going to Dr. Ben Yuckinen lectures. We were spending our money to go see Farrakhan speak as opposed to going to a strip club. This is where we were. The most coveted article of clothing was a historically black college or university sweater. We were motivating children towards positive attitudes and lifestyles. And when Rodney King got the beating, heads responded properly. Fast forward to our day. Sean Bell is shot 50 times in the street in New York by police officers. #1 song on the radio, Like a Lollipop. Nobody do nothing. Nobody respond to nothing. Trust me. Just like the brother, I believe it was JT, the bigger figure, who said that the label executives came to him and said, yo, brother, we need you talking about guns and whores. You know what I mean? That's right. That happens. I've been in those meetings with management and had to ask me, is what you're saying really what you believe, so that we'll know how to market you properly. You know what I mean? This happens. Young Buck on his album, he has a song on his album that talks about police terrorism. The label said absolutely not. Jimmy Iovine said absolutely not. You cannot put that record on the album because it might create an atmosphere that might put police officers' lives in danger.
Right.
So they took the record off, but they let him keep the other 14 songs on the album that talked about killing black youth. So this is what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a circumstance or consequence of history. You know what I mean? The environment that we're embedded in puts us in a situation where we feel we have to maneuver and play the game and water our message down. You know what I mean? But no, what happened was they intentionally shifted the paradigm to get us exactly where we are right now. Right now, we're feeding the prison industrial complex right now. Our kids are going to prison because they're promoting these records. They're promoting these records daily that send us to jail. You know what I mean? It's cool to go to jail. You know what I mean? They glorifying these things. And it's not the black youth. We're in a position where we get, like the brother said, the choice. You know, he said, yo, I chose the positive. So I didn't do it. But every youth is not going to take that route. I know I come from the projects. Grew up in the projects all my life. You know what I mean? And we're not turning down $500,000 to say nigga. We're not going to do it because we won't turn down $200 to take a package of crack from one corner to the next. You know what I mean? We living in a state of poverty and want of all things. So it's hard for us to make that. Our judgment is clouded. And they.
So yeah, see, he breaking it down. That's a good video, man. That brother, he hit it. I mean, he hit it right on the head, man. Right on point. And let's get even deeper into it, you know, because this thing is common knowledge, you know. This music you listen to is ordered by another race for them to make it. Damn near. You see what I'm saying? All right, so let's check out this one.
On your hand, records like that.
I thought Rule 336 was a dope album, so I came home happy. We bring the album back, and it was like the biggest shock of my life.
And I played that album for Leo and Kevin Miles, and they did this shit on me. And Leo, it's this soft, this album, I hate it. Scrap it. I said, what you talking about? He says, make a new album. I said, you don't want none of these records? No, they're soft.
It's not like Veni Veni Vici, is what I kept hearing. I'm not in the hood struggling, eating hot dogs and noodles no more, man.
It is my label. I don't put out music that I don't like or that I didn't feel is going to be good for the label. So I always try to push back on artists immediately, just to make sure that they weren't sandbagged.
I mean, that I just gotta chime in. I'm gonna put it back on, but that's a wicked devil right there. I mean, see, when I'm hearing this dude talk, he sounds just like a slave master. He sounds just like a slave master talking about some slaves. And these cool niggas ain't got enough self-respect. They want money so bad that they're gonna do that. And he only throwing peanuts at him with all the money he has. It's just, and I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. You could just hear that thing. It sounds just like a daggone slave master talking, man. All right, hold on. Let me rewind it a little bit. Cause this one here gets a lot better. Check this out. All right, here we go.
It is my label. I don't put out music that I don't like or that I didn't feel is going to be good for the label. So I always try to push back on artists immediately, just to make sure that they weren't sandbagging or they didn't have the opportunity to reach deeper.
See, in the office, I said, we're going to go back in there. I'm going to go back in there and tell them I ain't changed this shit. I go back to the office. I said, yo, off that. We ain't changing nothing. Me and Rule said the album is great. Okay. I said, what are y'all, how we rolling it out? we'll give you 2,000 pieces of vinyl and see what happens. So they set me up for failure.
On my own label. Did he look sane to you?
So what they wanted was me to go out there and fall on my face and for them to go, I told you, now make the other album.
I don't remember that.
We losing it.
See? I mean, you gotta have some pride. You can't, like, our people from watching the media, getting caught up in this society, this culture, have been brainwashed into thinking that money is an end-all be-all. To a certain extent, you need a little money, it's cool, but it ain't, I mean, it's not worth your pride, man. You gotta have, don't be prideful, but have some damn pride for yourself. Don't sell out like that, man. That's the big thing. The word says money is the root of all evil, you know? And you see it there. You willing to sell your people out and deal with these wicked-ass people just to get a come-up, you know what I'm saying, to get some money. All right? It's going to get better, though. So, let me go back to it. Here we go.
What they wanted was me to go out there and fall on my face and for them to go, I told you, now make the other album.
I don't remember that.
We losing it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the people that are in control of what hip-hop does is so fucking white and so fucking Jewish until they don't give a fuck about what the culture and the craft and what it really is about. I don't know if the motherfucker is trying to really let me say this shit right, because I want this to be as offensive as I can fucking make it for these old ass punks that's running these record labels. You know, that's in the powerful positions to dictate what the black community hears and listens to. You know what I mean? I fucking hate that shit. Like, that shit pisses me off. Like, there's no fucking way that you can tell me that it's not a conspiracy against the blacks in hip-hop. Because you put out fucking records that make...
See, and this is the thing. If our people, because the Bible says our people perish for lack of knowledge, and if our people knew those scriptures, if they knew Deuteronomy 28:17, and they knew these other scriptures, and the curses in Deuteronomy 28, if they knew that, they would not be running to these people. They'd go without in order, because they would understand what's going on. But our people, the knowledge isn't being kicked out. These churches are shucking and jiving and cooning out instead of waking people up to what's really in that word, you know, because the Bible talks about all this, and he can damn near taste it. You know, he knows something's up. He sees it. He's in the industry. He sees the plot. And like I said, money is the root of all evil. So you have these people, this race of people who want money so bad, they'll destroy a whole nother race just to exploit them and get the money out of them. And he sees parts of it, so he knows something's up, you know. And let's get back to it.
Make us look stupid. You make us look dumb. You brainwash a generation. You brainwash a generation of hip-hoppers with this fucking crud. And then when these other rappers come out, splitting it down the middle, these other rappers shit sound like, wow, y'all are great. Y'all look stupid. Y'all look great. Y'all look stupid. Y'all look great. And then, you know, motherfuckers start going over here, and then pretty soon, you know, hip-hop is white now.
I'm from the ghetto, so I'm used to that. Look on your motherfucking map and find Texas and see where Houston at. It's on the borderline of hard times. And it's seldom that you hear niggas breaking and giving God time. That's why I ask my mind to pray for them. Because I know know that even I got to die, and he got a day for me. And every morning I wake up, I'm kind of.
So yeah, so that's Scarface talking about it, but it's real. Yeah, there's more in that to that video, but I just wanted to show you that. So now let's get deeper into it. Okay, now you're gonna hear it from the horse's mouth. Now, I don't know if you didn't hear, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, the one of the owners, because this is another place they exploit us. Hip hop is the core, though. That's how they control us, through the hip hop culture, through the black culture, through the black entertainment culture. But one of the kind of offsprings of it is the NBA, the basketball league. That's another big one. And if you look at the majority of the owners and everything like that, a lot of Jewish people there. Now, it's the Clippers. Their team started doing better, but they had that whole thing with their owner, Donald Sterling, and the lady he was messing with put out a tape of him saying all this racist stuff, and you know, it was so perfect and so good. I'm so glad that came out, because it pulled the sheet back and showed people, look, this is how they feel about you. Wake up, you know. So anyway, they did an interview with him after all this happened. And what they did, they asked Don Sterling, well, how do you feel about Magic Johnson? And he goes, oh, well, he's a good guy, this, that, and the other. And this is like a live interview, and then they say, well, you know, Magic Johnson said he's not going to go to any games, or they said Magic Johnson said he wouldn't go to any Clippers games until you were out. And today he went to the Clippers game because, you know, he was out as the owner because of that racist stuff he said. So they told him this right there, live on air, and what I'm showing you is, okay, they kind of baited him, because they said, well, how you feel about Magic Johnson? Oh yeah, he's a cool guy, this, that, and other. He said some good stuff about him. But then when they told him what he did, you could just see that pride, that power, that arrogance in him just come up. But what he comes out and says is perfect. I mean, he breaks it. He shows, you know, they know what they're doing. This stuff isn't by chance. So there's a lot of good stuff in this one. So just check this one out real quick. All right. So let's get this up here. And like I said, this stuff is easy to find. It's right there on YouTube, you know. So this stuff is real easy to find. But just check out this small part.
I don't know his phone number.
He called you up when the tape broke.
I don't call anybody.
He called you up.
I'm loyal to you.
He called you up when the tape came out, and he told you not to say anything?
Yeah.
Why did he say don't say anything?
He just said, wait, be patient, I'll help you, we'll work it out.
Why do you think he said that?
I think he wanted me to just do nothing so he could buy the team. He thought maybe the whole thing would be resolved in 2 weeks. Well, what has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS. Did he do any business? Did he help anybody in South L.A.?
Well, I think he has HIV. He doesn't actually have full-blown AIDS.
Well, what kind of a guy goes to every city, has sex with every girl, then he catches HIV? And is that someone we want to respect and tell our kids about? I think he should be ashamed of himself. I think he should go into the background. But what does he do for the black people? Doesn't do anything. You call up and say, well,
he's opened a lot of businesses in inner city neighborhoods.
I mean, there's just a lot there. And I mean, look, love him or hate him, they see it. And they're telling the truth. Magic Johnson doesn't do anything. I mean, look at our race right now. You can easily just you know, hands down, our race is worse off than it's ever been, and is it going down, and it's accelerating. And these people aren't doing nothing. They're just, if anything, exploiting our people. You know, they come out with these businesses. They're not opening a company and hiring our inner city people. They're not doing that. They're opening these companies and hiring other people. You know, they're not. I mean, this dude's speaking pure truth. Magic Johnson was out sleeping around. That's damn true. He was sinning. He's doing wickedness. You know, the dude's not lying. I mean, what can you say? And then his son, Magic Johnson's son, is a hot mess. You know, but it's true. It's sad that somebody from another race has to tell you that, but truth is truth. We gotta help our own. Nobody else is helping us. We have to go back. Crabs in the bucket. Well, don't go back to the bucket. You're gonna get pulled in. Well, get a rope and throw it in the bucket, and pull or try to tip the bucket over. Don't get out the bucket and run away from it. I mean, there got to be some loyalty, you know. Somebody got to be the soldier, you know. So anyway, I'll rewind it a little bit and we'll pick up because he's going to really he's pissed right now, so he's going to let it out. So here we go.
Anything. You call up and say, well,
He's,
you know,
he's, opened, he's opened a lot of businesses in inner city neighborhoods.
The Jewish people have a company, and it's for people who want to borrow money and no interest. They want to give them a fishing pole. We want to help people. If they don't have the money, we'll loan it to you. You don't have interest, one day you'll pay us back.
So
I'm just telling you, he does nothing. It's all talk.
So are you saying that African Americans don't contribute to African American communities as much as Jewish
There's
people?
no African American. Never mind.
So he cut it off there. But you pretty much know what he was about to say. He was like, there's no celebrity or whatever African American who goes back and helps their community. And I don't agree with that because I know some people who do, but just on the majority level, no, you really don't see them coming back, you know? So, I mean, it's a shame that it has to come out that way. And it's like, let me see when this happened. It was published back in May 12, 2014. Like, that should have been a kick in the butt and a wake-up call to our people. But, I mean, like, here's a guy who's controlling your sport that you're good at. All LeBron James and all them did was took their shirt off and put it on the ground. It's like, damn, y'all are the talent. Y'all got the money. Just form your own league. It's that simple, you know. Let your contract expire, whatever, and start your own league. And hire your people, you know. But they're so hooked on that money. They're so locked into having the Bugatti and the this and the that and all the little trinkets that are just status symbols that there's no use to them really at all. So they're hooked on the drugs, so they got to keep on playing the sport. And the drug is this culture, this Greco-Roman, you know, European culture. You know, they're hooked on it, so they got to keep working so that they can survive, you know, feed their fix or whatever you want to call it, get their next fix or whatever. So talking about NBA, now that's the other pipe dream we get sold is, you know, you're a thug, it is that and other. Well, the other career goal of black culture is, yeah, I'm going to be a basketball player. So I found this, and it says, so what are your odds of making it in the NBA? And, you know, they break it down, you know, of everything. And basically what they come up with here is your odds are 8 in 540,000 for a 14-year-old basketball player making it to the NBA. Now, and this is kind of inaccurate because you're not and they're saying American born, but you're not factoring in all the world competition. So the people coming from international countries coming in the NBA draft, because that's what they have here. It says there's only, let's see, it says only 34 of them make the team, 34 out of, and then they say half of that gets cut. Oh, here it is. It says the NBA has only 60 draft selections. Okay. So basically, it's 540,000 people competing for 8 jobs. I mean, but the real fact is actually worse than that, because you got people like I know, because I play a lot of basketball, and I play with pretty high competition. I'm a pretty decent sized dude. And so a lot of times I play with people who play professionally overseas, and they're always trying to get in the NBA and stuff like that, and they get picked up sometimes. So I would say 8. I'd say it's almost like 1,000,000 to 1 chance or something, easily, probably more than that. And that's just of making it to the NBA. That's not factoring in you getting on a team and actually getting playing time. Now, a little story. I actually played ball with 2 guys who actually made it to the NBA. They got on a roster. Now, that just meant their name was on the roster. They didn't even dress out with the team or anything and play any games. They just were on the roster to be called if something happened. And these guys, like, until that day I played with them, I did not realize you could be that good at a sport. I thought there was a degree of randomness to basketball, but there evidently is not. I mean, these guys were insane. Like, that day I knew, I'll never make it to the NBA. I mean, it was unbelievable. They were insane. I mean, I looked like, a retard out there playing compared to them. And a lot of people think I'm half decent, But, these guys were truly amazing, And, if you ever get a chance to go against somebody on that level, it's out of this world. So, anyway, but back to what I'm saying, it's another pipe dream we get sold. You got almost 1,000,000 people competing for 8 jobs. Do the math. It doesn't make any sense. It's a pipe dream. Whereas if you go into something like what is it? It's web app development or web development, which is just computer programming for the internet, where you could learn, and it sounds complicated, but it's really not. You could learn CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, get kind of good at it, and apply for some jobs, and your chance of getting a job making $70,000 an hour, that's like over $30 an hour. If you set your mind to doing that, you could, in 2 years, you could be doing that. Whether you have a felony on your record or whatever, no matter what your situation, you could get a computer, study the stuff, because it's in huge demand right now because of all the mobile devices and apps and all this stuff. There's a huge void. There's a huge demand for web developers, people who know those languages I named, and PHP and these other languages. And it's projected to go for the next 10 or 15 years. If you if you said, okay, I don't want to be an NBA player. I want to be a web developer. You could do this at home. You could get a job at a company doing it. You could do it freelance. You go to one of these freelance websites and say, hey, I'll build your website. Figure out how much you're going to charge them, which is going to be a ton, because this is in huge demand. This just is so simple to make the money on your own time, on your own circumstances. And if you get on the internet and do your research, there's plenty of jobs that fit, that pay super well, that people are just not being directed to pursue. Everybody in the inner city is, I'm gonna be a baller or I'm gonna be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they're being directed to by this wicked ass culture that's not controlled by us. Okay, you don't hear Waka Flocka or Wiz Khalifa or anybody rapping about, I'm gonna learn that PHP, then I'm gonna make that money G or whatever. No, you hear them, they rapping about, smoking weed, playing basketball or something. Just something simple that your chances is just detrimental to be pursuing a goal like that. All right. And this is a good little video. We'll watch a piece of it, and it just tells the realities of being in the hip hop, being in the rap industry, how it's not really that glamorous. So check it out.
You video rappers that go rent, this is real. So are rappers really just fronting? I would say it's more broke rappers than rich rappers.
For the most part, rappers are not millionaires. They have this bar, this sort of expectation that's been set extremely high, and it's unrealistic. There are very few Jay-Z's, very few Eminems.
Frequently, the person that you see bling-blinging doesn't have as much money as he would like other people to think.
So whether they're shipping platinum, gold, or wood, many rappers feel obliged to live the player lifestyle, even if it's beyond their means.
A lot of people get caught up in the glitz and glamour, want to show off more than they have. They spend their money before they get it.
I know of rappers who, the second they got their deals, the first thing they did was went and got their rapper starter kit. Before they even paid their rent, I gotta go get my jewels, my pendant, my bracelet. Some people feel like that's the way they have to look before the fans will accept them.
I got the jury and all that, but that's the ghetto fabulous. That's what the crowd want.
If you don't have it, you're looking at somebody like.
See, and in that video just now, you just saw Fat Joe. And here, I pull up the article about him. So this is what's going on with him. And if you wonder what your odds are of becoming a rapper, he says it's like to become a successful rapper is 1 in 10 million. He's saying it's slim. And in this article here, it's talking about how he owes the government $140,000, I guess, in back taxes, and how he just sold his house and how he's struggling. And now he trying to drop an album because his last album didn't do that good, And that video I had up here, I'll show you the name of it. This video here is why most rappers are broke. DJ Cotton here, he posted, there's part 1 and part 2. Watch that thing, man. It's real informative, man. It shows you how there is no glitz and glamour to that stuff, man. It's just a trick to use you. They're the ones who make the money, man. So, and when I say them, are the people who control the culture, these big record execs and these CEOs and company owners. But, so what's the reason? Why are they controlling our culture? And I'm like, what are they afraid of? Like, why are these people over us like this? That's the question I ask sometimes. And an interesting thing, man, I'll put it like this. This is what they're scared of. Check this out. And then I'll tell you, but this is what they fear. Now check this out. And a lot of you guys might have seen this. But this is why I know you don't need to run to other people to go sell your records and do stuff like that. When you have the talent, forget about it, man. There's nothing they could do. Like when you got talent, you just talented, you know. But check this out. This is a CeeLo on a morning show years ago, probably like maybe I don't know how many years ago. But check this out.
Can I do a piece of poetry or something? Yeah. So let me turn my mic on. Turn your mic on. Hello? Yeah. In the beginning there was none other than the original people, skin blackened from the sun. But somewhere along the line I broke the laws of the divine, and a curse based on the soul of mine. Pale became the color of my face, feeling out of place amongst the people of my race. Filled with hate, I moved to a colder climate. Intercourse with animals and raw flesh was AIDS. Filth and disease, sub-zero degrees. But Satan's blood in my veins didn't freeze. This hatred that I have for you, it runs deeper than your skin. I hate the one who put me in this position that I'm in, until I realize the powers of evil. Anything I have to do, I will. I still kill and destroy. Went home to Africa looking for slaves to employ. Blue eyes, lies on the smile was my only decoy. Snatch you up from your roots. What good is the spirit when I have this new invention that shoots? Brought you here, then deceived you. I change and rearrange everything that you have ever believed true. My soul is cold as ice is. I sold you for prices. You were hung from trees for sacrifices. But through the blood, sweat, tears, and pain, God's spirit and y'all still remain. Which is actually more than I got. But I have a mansion and a yacht. The plot is making you think that it's about what it's not. With precision, I tell you lies through television. Distort your religion, wrap you up in materialism. How could you kill your own? Don't you see? You're learning to act just like me. But be more aware that the truth is there. I tell you all the time, but you don't care. But not all of you. There are a few that get into themselves and books on shelves and learn something new. And once they know, they become so powerful. But many don't have the means nor the inspiration to go to school, and I know they hate it. But you can't get a decent job unless you're properly educated. But educated about what? It seems to me that thus far, you've only learned about who we are. Isn't that funny? You'll give a school all your money for what you think you need, but it's never guaranteed. The misled mislead you. Your faith has been broken, provoking you to do whatever will feed you. Well, I front you some cooked cocaine in plain plastic sacks to sell to your fellow blacks. And while the foundation of your people cracks, you try to resist, but I won't stop until you don't exist. It's strong though, I give you that, but you must be stupid as hell to be that strong and still be where you at. And you still don't have a clue. I am who I am because of nuts like you.
See that? Now that is why they control our music, because they know how powerful it could be. They know one person coming down the middle like that, reaching the masses, it will be over. It only takes one. That's why they control the music and the distribution and the getting it out to all the masses. And they say, we need you to say this, not that. Because one person spitting, ripping pure truth like that, it could be over. Now, that was CeeLo years ago. I don't know how many years ago. It was before he had his reemergence and everything. But I'm going to tell you, you do your own homework. What I think happened, the powers that be were like, whoa, he has that. He thinks like that. We got to do something about him. So they gave him some success, you know, put him out there, he got his mind blown, and he became docile again. But that, I'm sure that was a wake-up call that scared him. But you get a rap movement that begins going like that, where they're spitting pure truth, our people will raise up. You know, and they know that, you know. That's why our culture is controlled. You see? That's what's going on. Because if we not killing each other, you know, shooting each other, staying asleep, you know, if we wake from that slumber, they know they got a monster on their hands, you know, so. But, yeah, you know. But anyway, I hope this video was informative. And subscribe. Check out some of my other videos on spiritual combat. And again, the title of this video was Who Controls Your Culture? And I think I more than showed you who controls it and why. You know, and we need to wake up. We need to boycott this crap music and come up with our own rap music. Because that's not rap that's out there now. That's crap. And we need to just take control, get our minds right. And the only way you're going to get your mind right is by reading the Word of God and follow the laws, statutes, and commandments He laid out. The purpose of those laws, statutes, and commandments is that's your map through this minefield. And the reason why our race is in the condition it's in right now is because they're walking through a minefield without a map, blowing themselves to pieces. Well, this is the wake-up call. This is the map. Get in that Word, you know. The information's everywhere now, you know. But anyway, I'm Mike, and you're watching Spiritual Combat, and have a nice day.